What if the thing that was supposed to save you money actually priced you out completely? What if the trend that was marketed as ethical and sustainable ended up making it harder for people who actually need affordable options to survive? That's exactly what one person discovered when they went to replace a pair of falling apart shoes and realized that thrift stores were now charging nearly the same price as buying new. And the deeper they dug, the worse it got. This isn't just one person's frustration. This is a quiet financial crisis that almost nobody is talking about, and it's happening right now in thrift stores, on resale apps, in buy-nothing groups, and at clothing swaps all across the country. So let's talk about it. For decades, thrift stores were one of the most reliable tools low-income households had for staying afloat. You needed a winter coat, you went to Goodwill. Your kid outgrew their shoes, you hit up the Salvation Army. You needed pots and pans for your first apartment. You found them for $1 each at the church rummage sale. The system worked because the people donating didn't need the items anymore, and the people buying genuinely couldn't afford them new. It was imperfect, but it was functional. It filled a gap that the retail market left wide open. Then something shifted, slowly at first, and then very quickly. Thrifting got cool. It showed up in music videos and on TikTok. Influencers started calling it sustainable shopping. Fashion bloggers praised it as the most ethical way to consume. Television shows dedicated entire episodes to thrift store finds. And with that cultural rebranding came an entirely new customer base. People who could absolutely afford to shop at full-price retailers started flooding into Goodwill looking for vintage treasures and designer labels hidden among the donations. The demand went up, and so did the prices. This is basic economics, but the consequences are anything but basic for the people who depended on those stores to get by. When a population with more disposable income enters a marketplace that was previously low cost, prices rise to meet what that new customer base is willing to pay. And the people who were there first, the ones who had no other option, get pushed out. Now let's get into what this actually looks like on the ground, because the details here are important. The person whose experience sparked this conversation shared something that really hits hard when you sit with it. Their shoes were falling apart. Not inconvenient, not unfashionable. Falling apart. The kind of falling apart where you're wondering if your socks are going to get wet on the way to work, where the sole is separating and you're walking carefully to avoid an embarrassing flap on the sidewalk. That's not a lifestyle choice. That's a basic necessity problem. So they went looking for a solution within their budget. They went to the thrift store, and what they found stopped them cold. A pair of used shoes was priced at roughly $20. And here's the gut punch. For $20, they could just buy new shoes at a discount retailer. They could walk into TJ Maxx and walk out with something that hadn't already been worn by someone else, something without unknown wear on the sole, something they could count on to last a little longer. The thrift store had priced itself out of being a solution. This is the new reality in a lot of American cities and suburbs. Thrift stores, particularly the large chain ones, have implemented dynamic pricing systems, hired consultants, and started training employees to look up the value of items before putting a price tag on them. A donated blazer that might have a recognizable label on it gets priced at $40 or $50. Housewares that were dropped off for free are being sold for prices that rival what you'd pay at Target. The logic from the store's perspective makes sense. They're a business. They want to maximize revenue. But the mission drift is real, and it's hurting people. And it doesn't stop at the thrift store. This person also looked at resale apps, Facebook Marketplace, Depop, Poshmark. What they found there was arguably worse, because now you have a whole ecosystem of resellers, people who buy items from thrift stores specifically to flip them online at a markup. So not only are thrift store prices rising, but a significant portion of the best inventory gets scooped up by people who have the time, the transportation, and the capital to buy and resell. By the time someone who just needs a pair of affordable pants opens the app, they're looking at items that have been marked up 2 or 3 times from what they originally sold for at the thrift store. The secondhand economy has become, in many ways, just another retail economy. with all the same pricing pressures, and none of the original purpose. So this person looked for the next layer of the safety net. Buy Nothing groups. These are neighborhood-based online communities where people give away things they no longer need for free, no strings attached. On paper, it sounds perfect. In practice, it's a mixed bag at best. What gets posted in many Buy Nothing groups tends to fall into two categories. Things that are genuinely too worn or damaged to sell or donate anywhere. Think clothes with significant stains or rips, furniture that's missing pieces, appliances that don't fully work, and things that are highly specific and rarely useful. A collection of decorative owl figurines, half-used craft supplies, 17 picture frames in one very particular size. When this person saw clothes being offered for free in their local group, they got excited. Finally, some relief. But the reason those clothes were free was because of all the rips and stains. And then came the well-meaning suggestion that shows up constantly in these spaces. You can upcycle the fabric, you can turn it into something new. Which sounds lovely, but as this person pointed out, a sewing kit costs money. Thread costs money. Needles cost money. And beyond the materials, upcycling takes time, skill, and energy. If you're already stretched thin across multiple jobs, caregiving responsibilities, or health challenges, the suggestion to just learn a new craft to solve your clothing problem isn't help. It's homework. Clothing swaps were the final option explored, and the experience was similar. The items available at swaps in many areas are the things people want to get rid of, not the things people actually need. It's the same phenomenon you see at potlucks, where everyone brings dessert and nobody brings protein. The people who have the nicest clothes to swap are also the ones who can most easily afford to buy new things. So they're not necessarily bringing the practical basics that someone actually struggling would need. What we're watching happen in real time is the commodification of the last affordable frontier, and it's having real consequences beyond just clothing. The person who shared this story made a connection that is deeply important. They said they feel like they can't afford to get healthier, because while food and exercise can be made affordable, they cannot afford to replace their clothes. Think about that for a moment. If your shoes are falling apart, walking for exercise becomes a problem. If you don't have appropriate clothing, you can't always access certain spaces, gyms, workplaces, doctors' offices, community programs. Clothing isn't a luxury. It's infrastructure. It's the thing that allows you to participate in almost everything else. So what can you actually do if you're in this situation? Let's talk about real, practical options, because this channel is about actionable information, not just venting. First, look beyond the major chain thrift stores. Independently run thrift stores, particularly those operated by smaller local charities, often haven't adopted the same aggressive pricing strategies. Church rummage sales, community yard sales, and estate sales can still offer genuine value, especially if you go on the last day when sellers are trying to get rid of everything. Second, know your local mutual aid networks. These are different from Buy Nothing groups. Mutual aid networks are organized around the explicit goal of helping community members meet basic needs. Many have clothing closets, free stores, or regular distributions specifically for people who need functional, wearable items. A quick search for mutual aid plus your city name can surface options you might not know exist. Third, if you have access to any free time and transportation, library systems in many cities offer free access to sewing machines, tools, and skill-building workshops. The materials can sometimes be sourced for free or very low cost through fabric recycling programs. This doesn't solve the immediate problem, but it can build a skill that reduces costs over time. Fourth, if you're buying secondhand online, look for lots. Sellers sometimes bundle multiple items together for a price that works out to much less per piece than buying individual items. Also, look for items that have been listed for a long time. Motivated sellers reduce prices. You can often make an offer well below the listing price on items that have been sitting. Fifth, and this is worth saying plainly, it is okay to buy new when new is cheaper. The sustainable shopping movement has created a kind of guilt around buying from discount retailers. But if TJ Maxx is your most affordable option for functional shoes, buy the shoes. Your financial stability matters more than an aesthetic preference for secondhand. If this situation resonates with you, if you've stood in a thrift store doing the mental math and walked out empty-handed because the prices just didn't make sense anymore, you are not alone and you are not imagining it. The system has changed, and the people who are most affected rarely have a platform to say so. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more honest conversations about money, affordability, and the financial realities that don't get talked about enough, subscribe. We're here every week with content that actually meets you where you are.